What you see here on your screen is SMCI Supermicrocomputer in 2018, exactly when they got all of the letters, the notices from the Nasdaq. So we've got the first one here, early February. Supermicro announces receipt of non-compliance letter from Nasdaq. Then a couple of weeks later, Supermicro announces filing of revised compliance plan with Nasdaq stock market. Couple of weeks after that, you can also see what happens with the stock, by the way. A couple of weeks after that, Supermicro received Nasdaq staff determination letter, has requested hearing before hearings panel. Okay, then stock goes up. What do we get? Supermicro announces listing extension granted by Nasdaq panel. Okay, great. Stock continues to go up. Then what we have here is Supermicro announces receipt of Nasdaq letter and response. And then, well, then things turn bad again. What do we get here? End of August, Supermicro provides update on Nasdaq listing and SEC filing. This is basically when they admit they cannot provide the filings on time and they will get delisted. Now, if we zoom out a little bit, we can see the following. All the way from the lows here, November 2012 to the top, February 2015, the stock went up 453%. Then from the top here, March 2015, all the way to the bottom after the delisting, the bottom here being October 1st, 2018, stock went down 81.7%. Fast forward to where we were back here in August 2023, so 5 years after the delisting, stock traded at around $25 or so, and then it went up by 412% to reach the top here March 2024, then got included in the S&P 500. Well, and since then, stock is down 85%. And on the weekly, finally, on the weekly, we are a little bit oversold. And so, since we have seen this play out before, this is a deja vu, believe it or not, we can look at what has happened before. You've seen all the titles I've shown you. We can dig a little bit deeper. You can also see that a lot of so-called super investors have actually bought shares of SMCI last quarter. So, okay, maybe they know something. And then I want to clarify something very, very important that I've seen in a lot of places. Just because this company could get delisted does not mean it goes bankrupt. Yeah, you don't have to be a publicly traded company to do business. Yes, it might hurt and will probably hurt the business, but delisting does not equal bankruptcy. I know maybe if you put in the titles and stuff like that, it gets a lot of clicks, but that's not the reality. So let's dig a little bit deeper, shall we? If you enjoy this type of videos, like, subscribe, do all of that, we really appreciate it. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment with the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. I first want to start with Gary Gensler here, chairperson of the SEC. He actually might step down, resign sooner than expected. On Thursday, he said this: "It's been a great honor to serve with them, the SEC, and his colleagues, doing the people's work and ensuring that our capital markets remain the best in the world." So that might be extremely interesting for crypto folks, actually. Now, going back to the delisting bankruptcy thing that people mention, let me show you a perfect example here. Luckin Coffee, a Chinese company, right? The so-called Starbucks of China. This one also fraudulent. So you saw this huge dump of 80% or so in stock price back in 2020. But since then, the stock is up more than 1,000% or so because, yeah, delisting does not mean bankruptcy. No, they turn it all around, the business is doing well, etc., etc. So, yeah, even if you bought it here when it went public, you would still be up 12.66% despite all of the drama. Now, for those that needed a quick reminder of what has happened with SMCI. So, 1. Supermicro faces potential delisting from Nasdaq due to late 2024 year-end report filing and lack of accounting firm. 2. The company's AI-related success has been overshadowed by recent controversies, including Hindenburg's research allegations and the resignation of EY, Ernst & Young. The stock price has plummeted significantly, and delisting could further damage the company's reputation and customer relationships. Supermicro must submit a compliance plan to Nasdaq by Monday to avoid delisting or secure an extension. The Nasdaq's evaluation of the compliance plan will consider factors such as the reasons for the late filing, board investigation, and the company's overall financial health. And so the next couple of days are probably going to be very, very crucial. Now, in the meantime, we can look at who's been buying shares of SMCI. So we've got here a couple of folks that have new positions, or should I say have opened new positions in SMCI, as you can see here on the screen. We then have also folks like Ray Dalio and BlackRock, Joel Greenblatt. They have added shares of SMCI in the last quarter. So either they know something or they're just betting. And so now let's go back to February 2018, actually February 2018. So this is the first one. Supermicro announces receipt of non-compliance letter from Nasdaq stating that the company is not in compliance with Nasdaq listing rule 5250, which requires timely filing of reports with the US SEC. The letter was sent as a result of the company's delay in filing its Form 10Q, as we've seen the last couple of days, and its continued delay in filing its annual report, Form 10K, as we've seen the last couple of months. Moving on a couple of days later, February 18, 2018, so they announced that on February 18, 2018, it had submitted a revised compliance plan to the Nasdaq stock market. The company has requested that such an exception continue and that Nasdaq grant the company a second 180-day exception period in order for the company to finalize and file its delinquent filings. Moving on to March 16. Supermicro received Nasdaq staff determination letter, has requested hearing before hearings panel. So they were notified by Nasdaq that since it remains delinquent in filing its annual report, 10K, 10Q, the staff has determined that the company is non-compliant with Nasdaq listing rule 5250. As a result of the foregoing, the company's common stock is subject to suspension in trading on March 23, 2018, and delisting from the Nasdaq unless the company requests a hearing before a hearings panel by March 21, 2018. On March 16, the company submitted a letter to Nasdaq requesting a hearing before a hearings panel. Then moving on to May 10, Supermicro announces listing extension granted by Nasdaq panel. So the Nasdaq has granted the company's request to continue its listing on Nasdaq through August 24, 2018, subject to the condition that the company becomes current with its SEC filings by that date and informs the panel the company is current with such filings. Great. May 21st, Supermicro announces receipt of Nasdaq letter and response. This is basically an automated letter that, well, they still have not filed their 10Q, etc., etc. And here Supermicro says again, the company believes it remains on track to file the delinquent filings with the SEC and thereby evidence compliance with the rule on or before the panel deadline on August 24, 2018. Well, moving forward to August 21st, 2018, Supermicro provides update on Nasdaq listing and SEC filing. So the company has notified the Nasdaq stock market hearings panel that the company will be unable to meet the panel's August 24, 2018 deadline to regain compliance with the Nasdaq stock market because the company will not be able to complete and file its annual report on Form 10K for its fiscal year end June 30, 2017. And so on August 23rd, 2018, the company received a notification letter from the Nasdaq stock market hearing panel on August 22, 2018, indicating that trading in the company's common stock on Nasdaq's global select market will be suspended effective at the open of business on August 23rd, 2018. So yeah, will we see the exact same thing unfold now? Remains to be seen. Because as discussed in the past video, we talked about this. Well, they filed that basically they're going to be late for the 10Q. So it's unable to file its quarterly report on Form 10Q for the period ending September 30 in a timely manner without unreasonable effort or expense. Plus they have no auditor. So yeah, it's going to take quite a while. Now, what's going to happen? So the server maker has until Monday, November 18 to either file a delayed 10K annual report or submit a plan to file the form to Nasdaq to be in compliance with the exchange rules. We know that option 1 is not going to happen because they have no auditor, so that's not going to happen. So it's probably number 2, option number 2, that should happen. Supermicro's original deadline for filing the plan was Saturday, November 16, so tomorrow, or well, Saturday, November 16. I don't know when you're watching this video, but in accordance with the Nasdaq's rule, if the last day of the period is a Saturday, Sunday, federal or Nasdaq holiday, the period then runs until the end of the next day that is not one of those days, so Monday. If the company submits a plan that Nasdaq approve, its deadline to file will likely get extended into February. If a plan is not approved, the company can appeal the decision. The consequences of missing the deadline with Nasdaq could be dire. If the company is delisted, it would likely mean removal from the S&P 500 index, which Supermicro joined this year. It also potentially faces an early repayment on $1.725 billion of its bonds if it is kicked off the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. Now, if the Nasdaq does reject Supermicro's compliance plan, the company can request a hearing from the exchange hearing panel, as we've seen that they've done back in 2018. Supermicro won't be immediately kicked off the exchange. The hearing panel request starts a 15-day stay for the listing, and the panel can decide to extend the deadline for up to 180 days. That's not an extra 180 days, it's a total since the start. If the panel rejects that request, or if Supermicro gets an extension and fails to file the updated financials, the company can still appeal the decision to another Nasdaq body called the Listing Council, which can grant an exception. Ultimately, the Nasdaq says the extensions have a limit, 360 days from when the company's first late filing was due. So basically almost a year. Then we've got one comment here from a Supermicro spokesperson. They said, as we previously disclosed, Supermicro intends to take all necessary steps to achieve compliance with the Nasdaq continued listing requirements as soon as possible. Now that's cute and all, but as you can see on the screen, we have seen this rodeo happen before, right? This is a déjà vu. So yeah, to be honest, it's a bit strange that they've been so silent in the last couple of days and weeks about this subject. I've been talking about this more than what I thought I would. People in the news talk about this, and yet this company does not come out with anything. No news releases, no post on X, whatnot. No, the only thing that we get are actually business updates. Business updates with regards to their racks, liquid cooling, etc., etc. So, okay, maybe it is business as usual, but I do find it quite strange that nothing has been said. So either they're really working on a solution, or they are panicking and they have nothing to say, so it's just, waiting for the worst. I guess we'll have to wait a couple of extra days, and even on Monday, like I said, you're not going to get delisted right away. We'll see if they get an extension, we'll see if they get to the hearing panel, etc., etc. We've seen that in the past, so we know what the process is going to be. Unfortunately, back in 2018, it ended, well, with a delisting. Let's see what happens in 2024, maybe even 2025. So, yeah, do share your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think will happen on Monday? Late, not late, hearing, delisting? Let me know down in the comment section below. Subscribe to all of that, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.